last week I was still kind of on the COVID-19 beat, as has just about every journalist in the, across the country. And woke up Saturday morning and had learned that there had been a protest the night before. We had not gotten any kind of notification about it or, any heads up that it was happening. So kind of went about my day doing just whatever, and then saw that there was going to be another protest and a march through Lincoln on Saturday night. And so I, grabbed my stuff, and I didn't know if we had any other Journal Star reporters out there, but I met up with the protesters as they were marching near 27th and O Street back towards the Capitol. And so just started rolling on Facebook Live and, kind of watched, this, it was just kind of this, really powerful protest. There was thousands of people out there walking, chanting, demonstrating peacefully. And they got to the Capitol, and then we walked down Centennial Mall and did a couple loops through downtown. And then we ended up at the City County building, where there was a line of law enforcement on the steps, at the top of the steps of the building, dressed in riot gear, just kind of telling everybody to go home at that point. And then things just kind of quickly changed from there. I guess one of the things that's important to me, being a reporter, and having access to certain things that maybe other people don't, is government accountability. And I saw some bottles fly in towards the police, and then I saw police drop the first canisters of tear gas from the steps of the center of government here in Lincoln, and just kind of watch things devolve from there. And I don't know if I thought about it consciously, but it was, in kind of reflecting back on it, it was, somebody needs to be here to bear witness to what's going on. Looking at the live stream, it tells you how many people are watching, and there are thousands of people watching. And I think that it was important just to keep going and trying to show what was taking place, both, the police action against the protesters, trying to get them to disperse and leave, the people that were, obviously doing some of the rioting, the looting, that kind of stuff in the buildings, as well as the protesters that were trying to, kind of keep some kind of order, or almost like police themselves. I watched like these impromptu medics helping folks, the guys that grabbed the fire extinguishers and were this ad hoc fire department putting out fires in all of these buildings. And it was just I don't know what kept me there except the desire to keep showing what was going on, and having that record for folks that were watching, and for his history, hopefully, that kind of just it was an important moment. You could sense the anger and just the frustration and the exhaustion that people have been feeling at some of the things that have been going on in the country, and how that was kind of manifesting itself there. And it was just this crazy thing. I've never been a part of anything like that before. So the next day, Mayor Larry Gaylor Baird imposed an 8 p.m. curfew on the protesters. So I went down there again at about a little bit before 8 o'clock. We had had some other reporters kind of covering the protests through the afternoon and into the evening, but I was curious to see, if they would enforce this curfew, and B, how they would enforce the curfew. And so I took my camera, and I had my, a neon orange reflective press vest, and I had my press pass on the front, and was just out there kind of watching the protest. And I saw as the police started, trying to push the protesters back a little bit, and then the county sheriffs rushed in and started arresting people, and just kind of watched it devolve from there. And then as I was continuing to film, the police were moving to the east up Lincoln Mall, and I was kind of, in their periphery, I guess. And one county sheriff's deputy turned and came back to me, and he told us to leave. And we weren't in the way. We had a right to be there. We were told we had communicated with the mayor's office that as long as we had our press credentials and stuff there, that we would be allowed to be out past the curfew and recording and documenting stuff, in our roles as journalists. And so I told the officer that I had a right to be there and that I was going to keep filming, and he tackled me, and he and another deputy detained me and took me to, over to the police van where they were getting some other protesters ready to go to jail. And somebody higher up in the Lancaster County Sheriff's office came over and said, we don't arrest media, check them for warrants and cut them loose. A Lincoln police officer ID'd me, checked my ID to make sure I was who I said I was, and they cut the flexicuffs, the zip ties off me, and I just got back and found where the protesters and the police were at a standoff again, and just kept rolling for another couple hours. Earlier in the weekend, I had seen the Minneapolis police arrest a CNN journalist live on the air. I think a ton of people saw that on social media that weekend. And I had started to see some other stuff like that happen at protests across the country. Reporters being shot with rubber bullets, being tear gassed, all that kind of stuff. And you never want to see something like that. And it's hard to watch, and then to actually experience it. I was in, I wasn't even like in the thick of things on Saturday night, but was tear gassed, I think four times that night, and it's pretty brutal. And later that night, as we were getting ready to kind of haul out of there, Justin Wan, who's a photographer with the Journal-Star, and we'd kind of linked up and were trying to kind of use the buddy system through it. And we were walking away, and there was a rubber bullet that struck a car right by where we were walking. But then, being detained, I guess, kind of takes it to a whole another level. I had my credentials on. I was clearly identified as a member of the press, and to be detained like that was pretty disheartening. Somebody from the sheriff's office has apologized to me and said that shouldn't happen. But it's part of this larger trend that we've seen across the country of reporters being detained, shot at, tear gassed by the government. And it is very troubling to see, particularly in this moment in time.
So I know that interview is a little longer than some of the other ones I've had, but I hope that you found it as worthwhile and enjoyable as I did. Also, I know that in this episode I've kind of flipped the script. We did interview first, but don't worry, I'm still going to a Runza. In fact, it's that same Runza that's in the background of my interview with Chris Dunker at 33rd and Highway 2. So anyway, here's that Runza review. So today I'm at a Runza in South Lincoln at 33rd Street and Highway 2. And I know I keep saying I'm gonna be eating healthy at these Runzas. Today I'm finally gonna make good on that promise. We're getting their side salad. And let me tell you, I'm gonna be having a lot of these side salads by the end of this Runza and journey. So I hope this one's good, because if it's not, it could be a long summer. So I have the salad. It comes in a green bag. So again, you're feeling healthy, somehow better for the environment. It's a plastic bag, so it's definitely not better for the environment, but it's green, look, cool. Look at that wind too, helping me out. This is what you get when you get a side salad. I'm gonna be real familiar with these by the end of it, but there you go. Not as big as the giant buffalo chicken ranch, whatever, that salad. That was a big salad. This is a little salad, but it's also got a little price. So I'll take it. Although still coming in at over $2 for a salad that on its own is 20 calories is really not looking good on the calories per dollar value. And as a distance runner, that is something that matters a lot to me. As a college student, you want to get full, and this thing is not going to fill me up, which I guess is still kind of the point when you're visiting 87 Runzas, but there you go. Now, I also got some balsamic vinaigrette for today's first dressing. Oddly enough, they do not have Italian. They said, "What dressing do you want?" I said Italian, because it's a pretty standard dressing, but no, they don't have that. So instead, we're going with the balsamic, and trust me, I will try all the dressings by the time this side salad feasting is over. Got a nice little fork here too. Well, I love the utensil. So there we go, this is what we're digging into. Just as I suspected, it is pretty tasteless, and then you have the balsamic vinaigrette that just powers right through all this tasteless iceberg lettuce, and wow, it's actually very, very strong balsamic vinaigrette. Now, there are some tomatoes, and they're also not cherry tomatoes, which I really appreciate. I kind of like the diced tomatoes more, but man, it is lacking. There's a little purple cabbage, but this is very bare bones side salad right here. Now, unlike some other fast food items that are greasy, that would get really old after eating them a while, I don't think this is gonna get old, but at the same time, it's really nothing new. It's nothing exciting. It's not anything to get excited about, but as far as if I'm gonna be eating this time and time again, I mean, it's doable. It's pretty much just lettuce. I'd say it's 90% a form of lettuce or cabbage, a couple tomatoes thrown in, but I mean, even by a side salad, like, there are no carrots in here. Now, the one thing I would say that is nice about these are the little containers here. A side salad might have one of those annoying styrofoam things that, oh man, the noise just hurts thinking about it. This gives you a nice little plastic container. You could probably reuse this for stuff. So yeah, overall the container's nice. The actual ingredients of the side salad, though, pretty lacking. I'd stay stick to the Runzas, and I'll give this a 4 out of 10. Well, thanks for watching that Runza review, and stay tuned for next episode where I talk with a community leader who's fighting for racial justice and equality in peaceful ways. Thanks for watching.